All right, are you ready to record? Okay, we're live. Yeah, you go ahead and start it, Tyler. Oh, wait. What do you mean you're not here? You're not recording live with us this episode? Uh-oh. I guess we'll just hit it. Okay. Hit it, Hutch.
This show's called Until We Agree.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Until We Agree with Matt and Tyler. I'm Matt, joined as always. Oh, not as always. Very special circumstances this weekend. As loyal listeners know, Matt and Tyler, this is Matt from Until We Agree, as I just mentioned, Matt and Tyler haven't seen each other in over a year. And what are the odds that the first time we see each other since this podcast started, Tyler decides not to show up for work that day? But in all reality, what happened is Tyler has been throwing up nonstop for the last 36 hours or so. 36 hours ago, we woke up in Miami, and now we're back in Nashville and Austin, Texas, respectively. But you can imagine throwing up all the way from Miami to Austin, Texas took a toll on him. So I think from what I understand, he stopped at Houston, Texas first. So he had to fly to Houston and then drive to Texas. He wanted to be here. He really did. We pushed it as far back as we could. This is a first. Obviously a first because it's just Matt from Until We Agree, by the way. This is Matt from Until We Agree. Welcome back to Until We Agree. This is a first only in that way, but also because it's Tuesday morning. This show goes live on Tuesday. We really tried to make it work, but what we do have is plenty of content that we recorded in the midst of being in Miami, and then Tyler was able to muster up the strength, and I really mean muster. He was going through it yesterday, and I don't doubt for 1 second that he wanted to be here, but I also don't doubt that he was writhing in pain nonstop. But he was able to send us some clips. So I have plenty of Tyler content. What we're gonna end up doing is just I don't know. Maybe I'm just gonna talk to his recording that he sent in, and we'll just recap the weekend. But yeah, this is his one PTO day that he gets, and he's using it. So this is the show you got. Be sure to check us out on Instagram at Until We Agree. Check us out, by the way, don't want to take too much credit for it. Might have saved TikTok. We made a push. We talked to the Supreme Court last week, and Tyler did a great impression that we all were super steezed on. And it went away for a few hours, but TikTok is back. Our first TikTok back just boomed. I think everyone's so steezed to have it back. So if you're on TikTok, go check us out at Until We Agree. We thought the ship was crashing, but I think we're going back to the moon over on TikTok. So we appreciate you guys checking us out and listen to this podcast. You're already here. You might as well see it through. I promise you'll hear Tyler. We got a lot of wacky stories to get through with our first time back together and our first time having a bachelor party for one of us. I will admit that we've never had one before. So it was great. And why don't we just get into it? I think what we're going to do is any second now, you're going to hear Tyler's sweet little voice as he recaps a weekend that he truly, I don't want to give him too much credit because he's a little rat, a slow moving little rat who not a great debater, can't run fast, and doesn't show up to work. So there's not much redeemable things I can say about him, but what I can say is he really put his body and heart on the line this weekend. So why don't we go ahead and run? No, we're not, because on top of everything else that happened in this crazy weekend, I open up our analytics and find that we have 2 new countries. It's kind of weird to be here by myself doing 2 new countries, but you know what the rule is. You gotta do new countries in the accent that they that they originate from. So we want to shout out Ukraine and South Africa, officially a part of the Rat Pack forever, and they can never be taken away. So Tyler said he wanted to do the South African one, but he's not here, so I gotta do both. So let's start with Ukraine. I lied. I'm back one more time. Just listen back to the hellos. Those are getting cut out. So you didn't hear the hellos, but just know thank you to South Africa and Ukraine, and maybe next week when Tyler's back, we'll address them in their own foreign tongue. So all right, one more time. Here's Tyler.
What's up, Rat Pack? Sorry for the short and strange episode today. It's supposed to be our big bachelor party special. We'll get some more details next week. You're getting the juicy stuff this week. Matt may have already said it. Came down with food poisoning about 8 hours before the flight. It's been a grind, man. It's been a grind.
Hey, first jump in from Matt, by the way. Just want to point out, I'm also kind of tired. I had to wake up at 4:30 a.m. Do I feel perfectly fine? Yes, but I don't want to just make it seem like Tyler's the only one who had to work hard. But I'm still here. Anyways, here's Tyler again.
Oh, we've been not sleeping much, and then getting on a plane with food poisoning. Couple trips through security because I had to jump out and take care of business. But yeah, anyways. That's just the latter 8 hours of the trip were tough. But the first few days were sick.
So sick.
So here we go. My recounting of the events. Friday, I get there. It's the morning. We're supposed to have a passenger van, right? A 15 passenger van. This thing's huge. We do get to the desk of an unnamed company. I would not say the name. It's Enterprise. I will not be giving them any free publicity. And they say, oh, yeah, that reservation you made months ago, yeah, we don't have that car here. So I said, oh, but I made that reservation, though. And they said, well, it's not in the building. But you can go look around at other companies and see if they have a van. And so that's what we did. And then I said, okay, we'll go waste time doing that. And there was not a van in sight. So then we come back. They offer us 2 minivans, 7-passenger minivans, Chrysler Pacificas to be exact. And I must say, it is one of the finest vans I've driven. One of the few vans I've driven, but one of the finest. And so we decided we'd take that and just commence with the weekend. And just spoiler alert, probably the best thing that happened in terms of transportation was that, because some of the places we had to park, I think one place was a 6'7" clearance.
It's true. I had to duck to get under it. Taller than Tyler, by the way.
Not a single chance that we park that passenger van in that garage. Same for the beach parking lot. Like, we're just not getting in there. So really a savior. Shout out Thomas at Enterprise in Miami. Shout out Tomas. He seemed powerful, and he let us basically get a little discount on two minivans. So we were appreciative of Thomas.
I'm not sure why Tyler loves Thomas so much. He's literally saying nicer things about Thomas than he's ever said about me, ever. Best man, by the way.
Yeah, we've returned those now, obviously, but
yeah, like super obviously.
If I'm not thinking about buying one, I don't know. Anyways, so me, 2 other guys are there. It's morning time because we're the kind of guys that enjoy culture. We enjoy spending time in the new city we're in. Matt, on the other hand, did get in at 8 p.m. to his own bachelor party. No, me and these 2 other guys. Shout out Graham. Shout out Tyler.
Bro was actually shouting himself out right now. That's crazy. Literally just for having an earlier flight.
We went to a Cuban restaurant. So we tried to go near our Airbnb to a Cuban restaurant, and we went there, and I'll dox it. It's called Havana Nights. We saw some unsavory folk outside of a food market, and no Havana Nights in sight. It was noon, so maybe they weren't open yet because it's nights. And so we moved on. We went downtown more to it's called Old's Havana, the Cuban sandwich shop, and it was the best thing we could have done. They had live music. Our bartender would get some percussion instruments and then dance. He did far more dancing and playing that than he did bartending. Just because we were sitting at the bar, there was no chance we were getting a table otherwise. It was a great experience. So then it's check-in time. It's 4 p.m. We get to the Airbnb. We're on a private island. And not what you're thinking, Jeffrey Epstein private island. Absolutely not. This one's much smaller, and it's in Florida, not in nefarious waters.
I think now is a good time to point out that there's almost no correlation between this private island and Jeffrey Epstein's, even beyond what he just said. So do with that what you will. There was no similarities at all, given the people and experiences on that island. Okay.
So I'm getting long-winded on this. We can go over some more later. I'll speed it up. Anyways, this Airbnb is real nice. It's huge, and so we get in. We watch some TV. The other boys get in with their van. Boom. We order some pizza. All's good. That's great.
This storytelling, this is my first time listening to this story. It's being told in a very Tyler fashion. So he just spent, I think, 3 minutes explaining him landing and getting lunch and getting a minivan. And then the second, me and all the boys, me, the groom, not to like make this all about me, but me, the groom, and everyone shows up. He just says, okay, it's over. Because what you're about to hear next is he's about to say the next day. He's done telling the story of the first night. The first night went on for 6 more hours. We didn't go to bed until 2 a.m. that night. Was that a mistake? Probably, because we were really tired the rest of the weekend. But vibes were so high. We were hanging out. They had Band Slam on the TV when I walked into the house. How sick is that? I couldn't imagine a better start to the weekend. Then all the boys get in. We're just having a good time, eating pizza, going nowhere because we just played games together. It was such a beautiful moment. And he just says, oh, by the way, this is the end of night one. The end of night one. Okay, here we go. Here's day 2, I guess. All right. So glad that Cuban sandwich was worth more description than me and my bro Tyler seeing each other for the first time in over a year. All right, now here we go for real.
The next day, we head to South Beach. Ever heard of it? Yeah, Miami, baby. Vice City. And so we play some beach football. I'm sure Matt's talked some garbage about how that football went. We will debate that next week for sure, because Matt did win. I'm not gonna pretend he didn't win, but okay, there were some moments in beach football where I felt like Matt was a bit of the Tom Brady deflating football. So we'll get into that. Anyways,
yeah. So Matt won twice. Matt outran Tyler on the very last play of the game. It's a tie game. His team got the ball first, but somehow my team had the ball with a chance to win. Do with that what you will. Tyler thinks it's going to be cute to rush me, blitz me, and I absolutely take off, run to the far sideline and see my boy Graham. We call him the Travis Kelce. Just a strong body in the middle of the field, streaking across, catching it, 2-tap in the corner of the end zone, touchdown to win the game. Tyler nowhere in sight because I outran him. Almost in an embarrassing fashion for him. He wanted to be a hero. He wanted to make a play, and it didn't happen. So we'll get into all of it more. I'm sure he has more to say about it. It's going to be embarrassing for him because he's going to be speaking nonsense. The Tom Brady Deflategate stuff doesn't even make any sense. He's going to be looking for any excuse other than the fact that he wasn't good enough to win. He scored 0 touchdowns. I believe his team scored somewhere between 7 and 10 touchdowns between the 2 games. He scored 0. So, I mean, I don't know what else he wants to say. He wants to act like he's this grand athlete. But he got took to town. His team had one more player than our team did. I mean, the everything's kind of adding up to like, wow, did Matt go crazy? Yeah, Matt went crazy. Our team, as I was the quarterback, our team threw 1 interception. I'm gonna tell you right now, it wasn't me. It was our one trick play. You got robbed, first of all, because someone buried me in the sand on a cheap blindside hit out of nowhere, and that was the only interception. Was a ball that did not deserve to be picked off because we're almost committing felonies. I'm not going to say we are committing felonies because I don't want to get this guy in trouble, but that I could have pressed charges and probably would have won in court. So that's essentially what happened. Tyler's going to want to debate this, but just know you have a week to be prepared. He didn't do anything that warranted to win. I didn't do anything cheap and dirty like he's talking about. I just played the game strong. I played the game fair, and I played the game really, really fast. Really, really, really fast. Something that Tyler may not understand. All right, let's see what else he has to say.
After that, we hit some lunch.
This is true.
Beautiful lunch. at a place that was a 3.9 star. We bumped up to a 4.1 because we just liked it so much and we all reviewed it.
This is also true.
And that's the kind of guys we are. We get in, we change small businesses. We're pro small business. And then, boom, it's time to go back. We play some video games, some aliens. Matt may have talked about some aliens.
I hadn't yet, but here we are. Yes, we played Aliens. Carry on.
We'll explain that some other time. Anyways, the next day, fishing day, and I'm sure Matt's playing the clips. He's probably explaining it. We'll get more in depth in another episode as well. But man, this fishing day was interesting. They were inefficient, unorganized. We had one rod at a time. It was a bit of a disaster, but we pushed forward. It was a cool boat.
Yeah. Fishing. Thankfully, we recorded our reactions live to the fishing. After the first hour, we were sitting there and nothing at all had happened. And we decided maybe let's... It was getting kind of comical and hopes were getting very, very low. So we decided this would be a good chance to just kind of capture everything that we experienced in the moment. So I've got, I think, 4 clips for you. We'll sprinkle them in throughout the next little bit, and you'll just get to see kind of what we went through live as it was happening. Because, like Tyler said, it was an absolute mess, and I don't think it had to be. And we'll talk about that even more, I'm sure. But wow, yeah, pretty crazy. So here's Matt and Tyler live in the Atlantic Ocean. Hey, this is Matt and Tyler checking in from Until We Agree.
We're on a boat,
We're on a boat right now in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. We've been on it for an hour.
52 minutes. We're pushing an hour. How many fish have we caught, Matt?
I would reckon 0. I think it's possible we haven't even come close to one.
Not even close to a nibble.
Yeah, no. We'll keep you updated, but right now it's looking
It's grim.
real grim. Yeah, so we're almost an hour in, and all we've kind of done is just kind of boat around. They had some lines in the water, but they didn't seem like they were doing anything at all because we were moving. And I don't know. It's called trolling. I felt like I was getting trolled by just watching these lines do absolutely nothing. So yes, eventually they kind of come to a stop, and that's the next part happening now.
Updated catch count.
1.
What you caught one?
No, don't talk about that one. I caught what they call a bait fish, which just means it's a little baby idiot fish.
One real catch. It was a barracuda. Matt was not at the helm. I was not at the helm.
But it's getting more real. We're ready to get to work. So keep in touch.
Glimmer of hope.
Yeah. Oh, Matt and Tyler from Until We Agree. Vibes were high. Our boy Jackson caught the barracuda. They had finally slowed down and started putting a rod deep into the water. And within 15 seconds, we got a bite, and he brought that bad boy in. Trophy fish, barracuda, had teeth. It was insane. Yeah, so vibes are absolutely high. They throw me onto the fishing seat, and it's like, okay, let's drop in again and see what happens. It takes a little bit of time, but that's eventually what happens. And then this happens.
All right, Matt. What just happened?
The vibe of the whole day shifted so fast. I'm locked into the reel right now. I was earlier too. They wanted to do a quick reset. In the midst of the reset, Austin, one of the groomsmen, is a business manager, is kind of doing his own thing with his own reel. Turns around, comes to the deckhand and says, "Hey, I lost it." And they go, "What could that possibly mean?" He goes, "I threw the whole rod in the ocean." And from that point on, the vibe really shifted on the boat. I think we've recovered since, but there was a few minutes where we weren't sure what was going to happen next. But
yeah, it was a vibe shifter. Matt's on the reel. We'll get to an update soon.
Yeah, so Matt was on the reel. Austin, the only time we got to throw a second rod in the water all day, Austin literally threw the rod in the water, which I didn't see. Reports are that it was very, very, very funny. People were confused. People were lost. What ended up not being funny is the cost that had to be covered. And yeah, the whole attitude from the crew that was already not great was kind of like off again. So a lot happened all at once. Those two recordings happened pretty much as back to back as you could possibly get on a fishing boat. Within 30 minutes, we went from catching a fish to having high hopes to catch another one so soon because the first one came up so fast. But then they stopped doing exactly what they did with that fish, and they did a new technique for me. And then Austin's doing a little throw in the water and pull it back up situation. And that's it. Nothing else happens. We get one more bite that I get, and it falls off the hook essentially immediately. So there were 11 of us that went out there with one rod in the water for 99% of the time, which felt like an absolute ripoff. It only gets more disappointing the more you think about it. We don't really know what happened. But we had to go through it. I sat on that chair and just watched the ocean rip our souls out of us. And not to mention that there was a whole situation of Austin being bummed out that he had to buy a new fishing rod for this company that doesn't even really use the fishing rods that they own. So yeah, we'll talk about that more because we really want to get into it. I'm sure we'll really get to bash them even more. But there is one more clip of Matt and Tyler live back on the shore after a disappointing 2-bite day that 11 people had to just sit through. So here's Matt and Tyler. All right, we're back on land.
Yeah.
that I think that's all we have to say
Total
about
fish count.
what just happened.
Total fish count 1.
And total fishing rods lost.
-1.
What's one word to describe the day?
Disappointing.
Yeah. All right.
And so get done there. We get some wings, watch some playoff football. A few hours pass, next game. Boom, we get some more pizza. Same pizza place. This time, food is poisoned. By whom? I can only imagine Big Flower. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. And apologies on the strange episode again. Thanks for listening. I hope everybody at the bachelor party had a great time. And we will see you next week. Hit it, Hutch. You know what it is. Unless I'm not last, then don't.
Oh, too late. You got a little baby hit. So yeah, that was the bachelor party as told by sick Tyler and current Matt. And I guess Fish and Tyler Matt too. So yeah, that was it. Truly had a great time. We really rag on the fishing moment just because we got absolutely robbed by the fishing people. But at the end of the day, life goes on, and what a privilege it was to be with all the boys and to just really felt like a great moment for me to just feel not feel appreciative. Because I don't know what I just said. I was so appreciative and felt really, really cared for by all these boys, and that's something special. I recommend you all get married just so you can have a bachelor party, if nothing else. Brittany, if you're listening, I didn't mean that. There's other reasons to get married. But that was a good one. Brittany actually was on her bachelorette trip at the same time. I hear vibes were great over there. There was at home hibachi and a little paper cutout of me that kind of went around town with them. So shout out to bachelorettes and women everywhere. We really appreciate women on the show, especially if you're a web browser woman, who, if you don't know, our web browser women are super involved in our listening analytics and our Q&A section. Kim actually is a web browser woman, and she has a Q&A question for us this week. Tyler's not probably going to participate because he is not here. But I'm here, and Kim asks, with all the Hunger Games talk between Matt and all the groomsmen, how would you rank them for their performance in a theoretical Hunger Games? There's a lot of groomsmen. Let's be real. My brother-in-law is in the army. He's number 1. He would kill us all. Probably 1 versus 11. And we probably wouldn't even have a chance to get started. Someone would say go, and then 3 of us would be on the ground already, just on account of the technology that he has at his disposal alone. So he's number 1. And let's put Tyler last, just because he's currently curled up in a ball, writhing on the bathroom floor, which is an easy place to find someone and get a quick elimination. I would like to think I sit somewhere in the middle, but again, at the end of the day, we're not beating the might of the U.S. Army as much as we want to pretend that we could. We can't, and that's that. Ronnie also asks, and if you want to be like Ronnie and Kim or anyone else who asks questions, leave us a question anywhere. We find them anywhere. We find them on YouTube. We find them on Instagram in the comments or DMs. We find them on TikTok. Just leave us a comment there. I think you can DM on it on TikTok. But if you can't, just leave us a comment on the post. The posts are fire. The demographic of like 18-year-old boys loves the TikTok, and I hear that other people are okay with it too. So if you're any person at all, check out the TikTok and leave us a comment there. And the best place to leave comments, I personally think, is on Spotify at Until We Agree. And you can just go on the episode that you're listening to and just leave a comment, and we'll look and just answer the question right away. I'm looking at these questions on Spotify right now. Ronnie asks, "You forgot one of my questions from 2 weeks ago." Which isn't like much of a question, but I think he wants me to address it. It goes back to me not wanting to point out who my number 5 artist is on Spotify Wrapped, even though we've made it so very clear. If you listen, you can figure it out. But we're not going to give that little clown the airwaves, and Ronnie's just trying to get me canceled by mentioning his name at all. So, Ronnie, I've met Ronnie. I know Ronnie well. Ronnie is a smart, capable young man. Who I think can figure this one out for himself. But if you wanna be like Ronnie, yeah, leave us a question and check us out on the socials. TikTok is not going anywhere unless things change, which, let's be real, they probably will. But I think truly that wraps up everything. I just want to leave you with a very heartfelt thank you to Tyler for all the work that he did to make this bachelor party weekend a huge success and a great memorable moment for me. So here we go. This was written by me, by the way, of course. Dear Tyler, thank you for throwing me such an incredible bachelor party. It was clear you went all out, and I had an amazing time thanks to your efforts. You truly know how to throw a memorable event, and I'll begrudgingly admit you nailed it. That said, let's not pretend you didn't use this as an excuse to show off your questionable dance moves and rat-like tendencies. Parentheses, I mean, did you really need to steal that last slice of pizza? Close parentheses. But hey, it's those flaws that make you, well, you. Thanks again for being such a solid co-host and an annoyingly good friend. Sincerely, your name. I mean, sincerely, Matt. Thanks for listening. Hit it, Hutch.
Thank you for listening. This show's called Until We Agree. Oh, thank you for listening.